Email etiquette, the lifeline for effective communication these days. It all starts with a sober email ID. Avoid childish email IDs. Here are some examples. Even worse are the cheesy ones. Completely avoid them. Not cool at all. Some sober examples. Play around with name, surname, and numbers. They all look quite professional. Next, name yourself correctly. Look at this example, K and P here. The first letters of a proper noun should be in the uppercase. This is the right way. See the S here and O here? Uppercase letters. That's the right usage. Next, have a precise subject. The subject must convey the context of communication. Avoid generic hi, hello, how are you like subjects. Avoid replying to the last email. How often do we receive such emails? Going to your search bar, typing the person's name, figuring out the last email, replying to that email. It takes so much longer, and even then, it leads to poor communication. Reply to an email if you are replying to the email. If you are starting a new thread, always compose a new email. That is the right, professional way. The subject should not be too long. Must fit into the inbox preview. The first letter of each word in a heading should ideally be in capitals, unless the word is a conjunction, pronoun, or has 3 letters or fewer, or if the subject forms a complete sentence rather than a title as such. Use pipe as a logical separator. Let me give you an example. Look at this. Regarding my eligibility, clarity on TOEFL requirement. So, for example, if you are writing to the admission committee seeking clarity on these 2 things, these are 2 logically different points. Hence, a pipe has been used as a separator. Look at the subject. It conveys the gist of the email. The first letter of all the words are in uppercase, except those which are conjunctions, or the words which are pronouns, or are 3 letters or fewer in length. Now, when a person reads this subject, one has a fair idea of what lies inside. Such should be the subject. While replying to an email, if you think that the context has changed, then appropriately change the subject. Sometimes you may add some words to the same subject to convey the additional content in your email. Or sometimes you may want to just completely change the subject. All said and done, the thumb rule is that your email should have a relevant subject relevant to the content of the email. Addressal and greeting, very important. Respected or dear is generally a safer option. Directly naming a person may be considered rude in certain cultures. For example, in the United States, it is common to just directly name the person. One may write an email on the lines, Jack, and directly the content starts. It is not considered rude, but of course if you include a polite addressal, it's only safer. In most matters, in general, business communication, in particular, a shade more polite is always better than a shade less so. Greet nicely, always in the emails. Something like this. So see, the email includes a proper addressal to the person. There is a greeting involved, some sort of pleasantry. Then the person has been thanked for one's email. And then the core content has started. In formal matters, this is the right etiquette. Next, body of the email. Have logically separated paragraphs. Use a nice font, type, color of the font, size of the font. Emphasize on legibility. Do not compromise clarity in interest of style. Talk to the point. Keep it precise. Both too short or too long emails can be inefficient. Ideally, have short, logically separated paragraphs. End cordially. That's about the body of the email. Let's look at responding to an email. The etiquette involved is change the subject if the context has changed. Thank the person for the email. Address all parts of the sender's email. Very important. How often do we read an email, interpret it to our understanding, and send a reply that is a reply to our understanding of the email, not a reply to what the person has written? A clear thumb rule to avoid such mistakes is to simply ensure that your response covers all parts of the email that you are responding to. Bring any new content in a separate paragraph. So, if you are responding and then in addition to the response that you are talking about something else, always have a new paragraph for it. End cordially. And something that we would be covering upon at a later point in the video, a normally accepted turnaround time is 2 working days. So try to respond within 2 working days. If your response took longer than that, attach an apology. Next, following up on your emails. Please never follow up an email with a phone call. It happens with all of us. We receive a phone call from a person telling us that he has just sent an email. In most contexts, this is going to be annoying. Avoid that. Do not follow up too early. Very important. 2 business days is a global standard. Before following up on something, please wait for 2 business days. Even if you know that the person generally responds much faster, if once in a while one is taking longer, please be patient and remember the 2 business days rule. If you need to follow up, do so cordially. Avoid unnecessary urgency in your email. The usage of terms urgent, ASAP, too frequently, a panicky subject. Don't be the guy who always displays urgency, the guy who needs everything before everybody else. You will understand such people are generally not liked. And remember, being liked and being successful are somewhere interrelated. Save urgency for things which are really urgent, so that usage of such vocabulary from you has its weight. Try it real time. Send emails with such panicky subjects and such superlative connotation, urgent, ASAP, and all. Also try something like this. Write in your email, please respond at your earliest comfort. More often than not, the second approach will win you a faster response. That's the right etiquette. Final option, pick up the phone and talk. If you think that emails are taking longer, it is getting urgent for you, or the communication is not being clear, rather than getting impatient over emails, talk to the other person, if that is an option, and the chances of miscommunication would be lowered that way. General wisdom. Respond within 2 business days. We have been covering this up. Else, buy time, and always buy more time than needed. Avoid capitals, large font in your emails. They generally mean shouting. Use background colors or italics or bold to a limited extent for highlighting some content in your email. Once again, overuse of even these amounts to lack of cordiality in your communication. Completely avoid grammatical errors, typos, slangs, SMS language. They can be a turnoff in a professional or a formal context. Use cordial words. Remember, your emails have the tone missing, so such words as thank you, please ensure a cordial connotation in your email. Very important. Whenever possible, appreciate. Works in real life, works on emails. And the most important etiquette of all is that please always acknowledge. We don't know any one shortcut to effective communication, but we can tell you one shortcut for miscommunication. Stop acknowledging, and you will definitely experience miscommunication. Acknowledgement suggests that you are sincere, interested, and courteous. Lack of acknowledgement can very well suggest a lack of these virtues: sincerity, interest, and courtesy. It may just be a thank you, an all right, an okay, a smile sometimes, but always complete the communication loop. As far as possible, try to have the last message in every thread from you. Once again, the most important etiquette: please always acknowledge. Gmail settings. Some of the normal settings will help you in your email etiquette. Use a nice font type, color, size. Emphasize on legibility. If at all, have a sober signature. Avoid anything jazzy. In case you are going to be away from your inbox, it's a good idea to put a vacation responder. If you use emails on mobile, put an appropriate signature, suggesting that a message was sent from a mobile device, and therefore, brevity and any typos shall be please excused. Next, we suggest that always archive your emails. Keep only those emails in your inbox which have a relevant action item. This would help you in not missing any emails. Undo send. This is a nice feature on Gmail that allows you to recall emails within 30 seconds of sending them. Go to your settings and then Labs. You can find this particular feature there. activate it. It's quite helpful. Formally recall an incorrect email. So, if you end up sending a wrong email, do not shy away from recalling it. Recalling is better than living with it. By recalling, I mean sending another email with recalling last email in the subject. In the body of the email, convey a proper apology. That is the correct etiquette. This was the concept, friends. To get a strong grasp over the entire MBA applications process, please watch all the 20+ videos in this series. Thanks for watching.